What's up, everyone? My name is Mike. Welcome back to my channel. The last couple of times that I've tried to do this, the audio has not been working, but I think I've got that figured out. This should be going. I'm going to check on my phone really quick that I can actually hear myself here. I want to say thank you to anybody that joins us here and is coming in to talk about VeVe, HRO, whatever it might be that you are coming in to talk about with me. I appreciate you for that. I think I can actually hear myself, so this is the first stream that I've started where I can actually start with good audio. So I'm very grateful for that here. I hope everyone's Sunday is going well. I do these live streams every Sunday at least here. I do 1 to 3 videos during the week, and that's the direction that I'm going to be taking this channel. If you do not know me, my name is Mike. I started on VeVe back during the Golden Moments drop, just trying to figure out how to point to that. The Iron Man was the first drop that I actually went for, and I got it. And then when HRO came about, I got into HRO. And then the bat cows, of course, as well, trying to figure out which direction I should point for those. I'm not going to figure that out. There we go. This one and this one here. As well as the recur. I did end up getting one recur pass. Haven't gone for any of those drops just yet. The NFTU or the Star Trek or the Nickelodeon. I would have gone for the Nickelodeon, but I missed out on that drop, unfortunately. HRO, I've gone for the physical hybrid sets, so I do have some of those cards that I will be playing around with. I also have some empty or some open boxes here still, and I'm trying to figure out, do I open them? Do I not open them? What do I do with them? I've got, what is this, a 24 pack? What is it, 24 or 28 mega box, and then I've got an 8 card premium box and then a 4 pack premium box still left to be opened, but I definitely have cards upon cards upon cards here. That's just the small portion of it there. How many have I actually opened? I've opened, I think, 2 mega boxes. I've opened 1 8-pack premium and probably 10 4-pack premium. I think so. So that's where I'm at with my physical set. The best card that I got was my Joker hybrid. It's like a 495 mint. I got all of the legendaries. Here's my Joker premium, or sorry, mythic. 495 there. I got, so I don't have the Wonder Woman, I believe, mythic and the Batman mythic. But I've got all the other cards except the Joker legendary. So that's where I'm at with my set for the hybrid series. So I'm kind of on the fence if I should open those packs that I still have remaining here. And then in terms of my dogs are just barking here at the door, so I'm just trying to figure out what could be going on up there. But in terms of the digital sets, so I did try to get the Batman Universe sets for the digital side. I didn't complete that. I did complete the Superhuman Strength set because I got the Superman A2. So that was my biggest pull on that. So I went ahead and completed that set there. VeVe, of course, I'm always collecting on VeVe, and I also want to start by talking about VeVe and Boba Fett here. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat. I'd love to talk to anybody and everybody that might be tuning in here to talk about this. I want to talk about Boba Fett that came to VeVe this week. I want to talk about HRO, my Green Lantern. I've got some Green Lantern packs that I can open up on stream if anybody wants to see that. Those open up. I can show you that I've got 5 packs, and it's really interesting with HRO because we are going to be burning packs, it looks like. So I want to talk about that and anybody's game plan that they've got for that. let's see here if I can change where. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to change that. Here we go, NFTs. There we are. So that's where I'm at. I've got 5 packs there. So we can definitely get into opening those later if anybody actually wants to see those get opened. It's interesting because there's 9,578 packs remaining on Hero. And in 5 days or so, whatever is not purchased is going to be burned. So there's only like a third that actually got purchased at this point in time, which means there's a lot of packs and a lot of cards that are going to get burned. And who knows what's that going to do to this drop. Now, the Pride drop, I wasn't too interested in collecting. I did end up purchasing all 10 packs, but I ended up selling all 10 packs. I didn't even open one. I was kind of disappointed in what the cards look like. The repeated characters, I talked about that in other streams. The Green Lantern Corp drop, I'm not a big Green Lantern fan. So I'm kind of on the fence. They look amazing. It's great what they did with this drop. It's just unfortunate because I'm not a Green Lantern fan. So I'm trying to figure out what do I do. But I'm going to wait till the burn, just before the burn, and decide, should I pick up 5 more packs? Because I have enough for 4 packs. So should I pick up 4 more packs and just kind of see what happens? Because this is like we're in new territory for Hero and burning packs. They were going to burn the Pride packs, but those ended up being all sold out before they were going to burn. So this is a new uncharted territory, because I think we'll definitely be burning some packs when it comes to Hero and this Green Lantern Corps drop. So that might be interesting to play around with that. That's kind of my game plan and what I'm thinking with it. I would be willing to open 1 to 3 packs that of the 5 that I've got right now, because if I do get one of the legendaries, I will definitely go for the set. I will definitely complete the set. Also, the Pride drop already got their badges. We saw that with the Batman Universe drop and the Superhuman Strength drop. After the Superhuman Strength snapshot, we got badges for those that completed the sets in each of the rarities as well. So that's interesting to talk about as well. Sorry, as I take a drink here to continue talking. Once again, any questions, anything that you want to talk about, put it in the chat, put it in the comment section. I'll respond to anybody and everybody that comes there as well. But we got the Boba Fett drop in VeVe. This was yesterday, and I went for 2 of them. So I only had enough gems for 2. I went for 2, and this one was a tough one to create a price prediction for. Price predictions are generally based on the market at that current point in time and market sentiment. So this is a difficult one to create that for, a price prediction for, because who knows what this would actually go for in the aftermarket. At this point in time with VeVe, with KYC coming up, with being able to withdraw finally coming up, or actually rolled out, and especially since there was a huge split between people that thought that this was a GRAIL, and between people that didn't think it was a GRAIL and didn't think that it would live up to its physical version of it. And I was on that latter side, the side that I don't think this is a GRAIL. If you know about collecting the physical version of Boba Fett, its scarcity and what you had to do to actually get Boba Fett is why it actually costs how much it costs and why it's such a popular collectible in the physical world. And that just doesn't translate over to the digital world when it comes to this, because there's some things I think in the physical world that do translate over to the digital world, but the whole hurdles that people had to go through in order to get that Boba Fett or physical collectible aren't the same hurdles that we experience with this physical collectible, and the scarcity along with that. So we're not going to see that same sort of trend from the physical over to the digital. I also see a growing trend of people thinking that everything Star Wars is a GRAIL, and I don't think that's going to be the case. It's the same thing that I talked about when Darth Vader dropped, and actually I was way off on my price prediction for Vader, but I was bang on with Boba Fett, was that everybody's thinking Darth Vader is going to be a grail, and it could be, and I actually fall on the side that I think it will be. But where does that end with Star Wars? Because Darth Vader is one of the most popular Star Wars character, if not the most popular Star Wars character. But Darth Vader also represents the probably most popular villain in all of movie history. I could almost say that confidently. But that's where Darth Vader being a grail kind of plays into factor. But Luke Skywalker is a popular character. Han Solo, Princess Leia. There's a major list of Star Wars characters that are very, very popular in both the Star Wars world as well as the mainstream audience world. And that's where that mainstream audience world kind of comes into play in terms of its value. So where does that grail start and stop with Star Wars collectibles? Is Luke Skywalker a grail? Is Princess Leia a grail? Is Han Solo a grail? C-3PO, R2-D2. We've already seen C-3PO and R2-D2 as golden moments. And I think it's those collectibles that kind of stand out above the rest. Like, not these 3D digital collectibles that are true to the character's appearance, but those golden moments of those characters really aid in the factor of them being grails. So I think the argument I'm trying to make here is try to think about where those grails start and stop with Star Wars, with other brands. Like, eventually there'll be more and more brands, more and more characters that come onto the platform and that take market share away from these characters, unless more people come onto the platform and more gems are purchased onto the platform. So in my mind, is Boba Fett a grail? Maybe everything we got at this point in time is a grail in the future, because VeVe explodes and the user base explodes, and then we're getting drops where each character, we're getting 100,000s of them as opposed to 10,000s or thousands of them. So perhaps we're at a point in time where everything that we're getting right now, the first appearances are going to have such low edition numbers compared to what we get in the future, which makes every first appearance right now a grail. So that could be something to think about as well. We just don't know. At this point in time, Boba Fett is not a grail on the platform, in my opinion. That could change in the future depending on what the trajectory that VeVe goes, right? Elektra could be a grail in the future, depending on where the popularity of that character goes, based on, is she going to appear in Marvel movies, and based on the trajectory of VeVe in general. So these are things that all need to be considered. But in my opinion, Boba Fett at this current point in time is not a grail on the platform. But I'd love to know your thoughts, your opinions on this. Leave it in the chat. Leave anything in the comment section as well. Any questions that you may have or anything that you disagree with me on. I'd love to know or hear anybody disagree with me on that or agree with me, whatever that might be, because personally, I'd rather hear from those that disagree with me and hear your reasons why, so that I can refine what I think and refine my thoughts, because it's great that you may agree with me and give me the points as to why you may agree with me. But if you disagree with me, I want to be able to weigh my thoughts and my way of thinking against yours, and to be able to refine my thinking if at all possible. So I'm happy if you disagree with me. Please do disagree with me there. But that's my thoughts on Boba Fett. I went for 2 Boba Fetts, and I got the common and I got the uncommon. I seem to not be able to get any amazing additions or rarities when it comes to these really popular drops, or more popular than general, because Boba Fett's doing better than general, I would say, in terms of collectibles dropped at this time, like comparing him to Moon Knight and Mr. Knight or anything like that. But in even comparing him to Thor, I think even secret rare Thor is under where ultra rare Boba Fett is actually going at this current point in time. So that's something I'm actually going to look up right now as I'm thinking about it. So the ultra rare currently is going for 315 gems, and there's 678 on the market. So that's about like 15% of the total in supply. So that's interesting to note. That's quite a bit being sold right now in the market. 43 for the uncommon and 40 for the common. Obviously, I was hoping for an ultra rare in my 2 that I purchased. I did not get it, but is it worth going for the 315 gems for the ultra rare? In my mind, not right now. I still think that we're going to be experiencing a downward trend in most of our collectibles. So I'm holding off, currently buying for just a little bit longer. Sooner or later, I'm going to be, well, I am purchasing things here and there and dollar cost averaging when I can. But sooner or later, things will turn around. That's just my thoughts, not financial advice on any of this. As I also try to find Thor. Here we go. Secret rare. And what could Thor's secret rare be sitting at? The ultra rare currently is at 80 gems. And the secret rare currently is at 350. So slightly above where Boba Fett is sitting. Now, Boba Fett also has the advantage of only having 3 different rarities, which means less editions, which means more money into these editions as opposed to Thor. So on that basis, Thor is, in my opinion, doing better than Boba Fett. And if I was to predict that, I would have assumed that that would be the case from the beginning. Now, so if Boba Fett had more editions, it would actually be priced much lower than what Thor is actually going at right now, though Thor is already going for higher. So just my trying to think through this whole thing in terms of VeVe, the market, and what we just experienced with Boba Fett, in drops that are coming in the near future that have been teased, such as first appearance Spider-Man, which I'm sure we're all very excited about. But that is my thoughts on the Boba Fett drop. Am I going to purchase the ultra rare? Probably not for the current time being. I'm just going to hold on to the common and uncommon rather than taking a 50% loss. We did just get a Buzz Lightyear drop announcement. And, you know, that it's interesting that they dropped Buzz Lightyear first as a first edition, that movie poster or whatever it was. And now they're going to drop Buzz Lightyear as a physical version as a first appearance, and it's going to get the first appearance stamp. And I'm sure there's going to be people that disagree with that first appearance stamp, being that we do already have a first appearance Buzz Lightyear, even though it's in terms of a as a item rather than an actual character. It's just the way that VeVe's doing their stamps with first appearance and first edition that it's a little bit, you know, like you could make a case that first appearance Buzz Lightyear is that first edition, in that this Buzz Lightyear, maybe sometime in the future, doesn't get recognized as a first appearance, even though it's got the first appearance stamp. Fam3, or maybe it's Fame, depending on how you are writing that. Thank you for your chat comment. Thank you for your comment saying that. I appreciate that. What do you think of real Buzz dropping instead of toy Buzz? Yeah, that's interesting that it's going to be the newer version of Buzz. Makes sense. It makes sense that Disney would probably come to VeVe and say, let's drop this. Considering we heard earlier about those Golden Moments Valentine's Day drops that actually Disney came to VeVe and said, let's drop this, as opposed to VeVe going to Disney and saying, we've got a plan for this. So I'm sure that's more so on the Disney side of things, wanting to push their movie that also comes out on the same day as this drop. So my thoughts, it would be much better to get Buzz Lightyear first appearance as the initial toy, as the initial character from the Toy Story series, as opposed to this real Buzz Lightyear. But it's already set in stone. It's already doing what it's going, how they've already announced it. Unfortunately, my thoughts are the original Buzz Lightyear would have been more money, and then there could be actual, and even still, there could be an argument that that's still first appearance Buzz Lightyear. When after this drop, when we get real life Buzz Lightyear, and then we get a toy Buzz Lightyear as seen in Toy Story, perhaps that's the first appearance as well. I don't think that they'll go that direction though. I think this is our first appearance Buzz Lightyear, unfortunately, but that is just what it is. Yeah, and you just mentioned exactly what I was just talking about there. Do you think the toy comes out, it'll be FA? I don't think so. I think this is our first appearance Buzz Lightyear, though they have done some strange things with that, because isn't the Marvel Mighties Captain America called Steve Rogers and it gets the FA, and then we've got a Captain America which is a FA collectible, or no? No, I'm just looking at that right now. It doesn't look like that. But there's something strange there that they've done in the past where there's two different names of the same character and they both got FA. I can't think of which one that is though. And if that was even a case, or if somebody just brought that up and I'm just thinking about that right now, that it could have been two different FAs, even though it's the same character, just their alter ego or whatever it might be. If somebody remembers that, if you could put that in the chat. I'm trying to think what, I think it had to do with a Marvel Mighty and then an actual character of the same Marvel Mighty. But I could be completely wrong on that. And I could be interpreting that as somebody saying, hey, we got a Steve Rogers Marvel Mighty, that's an FA, but we got a Captain America collectible and it doesn't get an FA. Why is that when it's Steve Rogers versus Captain America? So that's a good point that you bring up. Is the toy version going to come out as an FA? In my opinion, I don't think VeVe is going to do that, but I think there's an argument there that it could. And that comes down to market sentiment too. If the market thinks that that's FA Toy Story Buzz Lightyear, even though VeVe doesn't recognize it as an FA Buzz Lightyear, it all depends on what the market thinks. Though, we do get Bob Jack. Thank you. Moon Knight and Mr. Knight, even though they're the same characters, different sort of alter ego, I guess, or a different version of the same character. They both get FAs. Though they did drop those on the same day and kind of as the same drop. I think that might be the argument for that that they get FA. Also the same argument that Moon Knight, Mr. Knight, technically the same kind of character plays those. They are different personalities of the same character. Perhaps that could be something there. And then as that kind of comes up, I can't quite remember what I was talking about with... Oh, it was the market sentiment. The market sets the prices. The market sets what they think first appearance of that character is. So if there is the market sentiment that we do get a Toy Story Buzz Lightyear in the future, if the market sentiment is that it is a first appearance Buzz Lightyear Toy Story version, then the market sets that. That's not necessarily up to VeVe, even though it might not get the FA stamp, if that makes sense at all. It would take quite a bit of the market to actually believe that, for that to reflect in the pricing. So just my thoughts and my opinion on that. But Fam3 or Fame, if you have different thoughts, I'd love to hear that in the comment section in the chat here. And if anybody else has different thoughts, I'd love to hear that in the comment section. So, of course, I don't think I'm completely right in saying any of those things. That's just what comes to mind for me when I try to think of that. But very interesting. I mean, why wouldn't they drop Toy Story Buzz Lightyear first to go along with our Woody? And the Pixar Pals. Like, I feel like they should have done another Pixar Pals drop before the movie came out, before Lightyear came out, to be able to tackle that Buzz Lightyear Toy Story version. And that brings up a whole, like, there's so many more characters to be dropped on VeVe. It's incredible to think about. Like, think about all the other Pixar Pals that can be dropped. And all the other Star Wars characters that can be dropped. And so many more comics that need to be dropped that we're all looking forward to, obviously. First appearance, Spider-Man. The Star Wars comics, the Marvel comics, the Marvel characters. There's still so many more things to look forward to with VeVe. And that's why I think, VeVe is just crushing it in terms of what they're putting out for this and what we have to look forward to as collectors on the platform. And as they drop more and more characters, that's going to bring with it more and more people outside of the app to want to come on into the app when they see a character that they want to collect. In addition to that, there will be more and more people collecting digital collectibles and moving, I don't want to say necessarily moving from the physical space to the digital space, because I still like having physical things to collect as well. But we will see that move kind of towards more digital collecting as NFTs become more and more popular, and especially as the market comes more and more popular. As the market starts to trend upwards, which I think is going to take some time. Like, we're still early in VeVe, but I think we're still going to have a lot of time to be early in VeVe because of where the market in general currently sits. In the recession that we're experiencing or going to be or in the midst of, I think we've got a good 10 months at least of uncertainty in the market, which will be reflected in VeVe prices, as well as, VeVe could release some incredible collectibles and bring more people onto the platform, which will cause a spike in prices. But I do think that the prices where we're at are a good benchmark of where we're going to be 10 months down the road, until we do see more of an uptick in people searching for NFTs and searching for different NFT platforms. Granted, that's assuming everything that VeVe has been doing and is doing remains consistent. Meaning, if they come out with another type of golden moments drop that brings an influx of users, like not necessarily more golden moments, but another golden moment type drop that brings more users into the platform, then we'll see definitely an uptick in users and an uptick in prices, an uptick in gems being purchased and everything like that. Because when I think why I got into VeVe from the beginning, I saw a news article about Disney NFTs and these golden moments. So we need sort of those news articles to capture a wider audience, and for VeVe to continue to show up at things like Comic-Con. And I'd love to know your thoughts about VeVe at Comic-Con. Do you think that they did good? do you think like, are you disappointed in the market prices following Comic-Con? Because I got my own opinions about this too. Um, did you think that there would be a pump in the market following Comic-Con? Um, what were your thoughts and your opinions on what you saw at Comic-Con, and what would you have done differently if you were VeVe? And personally, I think it was amazing to see their booth that they had at Comic-Con, and that Marvel put them where they put them. I think that shows a lot of faith on Marvel's part for VeVe. And I love that. I'm just going to take a drink while anybody wants to put their opinions in the chat as well. And William Peartree says, we're so early, perhaps too early. We're definitely very early. Perhaps too early. It depends on your opinion on what too early means. Like, are we going to go down still in the market pricing? I had a thought that came to mind there about that. And we are very early. But where do we see these digital collectibles sitting in the future? Say 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. Are we going to reach previous all-time highs? And why? The way I see it is that if VeVe becomes a mainstream thing, they're going to have to increase their editions of these characters that they drop in the future. If their increase in editions is to meet market demand, and we see hundreds of thousands of editions for each character, then what we're experiencing right now, yes, we're early. Bless me, sorry about that. We're in like a golden age, that these thousands of editions, hundreds of editions are going to be worth a lot of money in the future. And that's where I think like that is the edition number creates the scarcity when demand increases, which will cause the prices of these first appearance collectibles really increase. Not to mention utility that gets built into these collectibles, not to mention any game plan or any roadmaps that comes around with these collectibles as well. So, and Park East Music, it was great for VeVe to be there. We are early. NFT is not mainstream just yet. Yes, I completely agree with that. And you said, God bless. Thank you so much for my sneeze there. It was definitely great for VeVe to be at Comic-Con and to see the faith that Marvel has in VeVe by putting them up in that booth. NFTs are not mainstream just yet is absolutely true. And I think we're going to stagnate or even decrease for quite some time, especially during a recession, and especially wondering how long this recession is going to last, until people get more disposable income to be able to put into VeVe. Like, worst case scenario is that this recession really draws out based on a major correction of what we've seen for the past couple of years. And this recession causes people to not have disposable income for some time. And in that case, I think we're years as opposed to months out from VeVe gaining widestream adoption. Because it's not just about what VeVe does to get more and more people and to bring more and more people onto the platform to purchase more gems and to keep that market cycle going, but it also definitely has to do with timing. You know, timing in the market and where we find ourselves at with our disposable income. So that's also something important to recognize as well. There's so many different factors. Like when I see a YouTube video about a long-term price prediction for a certain collectible, to me that doesn't make sense. Like I make very short-term price predictions because I know where the market currently exists at this point in time to the drop, and then I kind of weigh like the popularity of that character, the storyline of that character, and everything to be able to create a very short term price prediction. But when it comes to long term price predictions, there's just so many variables that you just cannot account for. So long term price predictions, to me, in my opinion, do not make any sense at all, because there's too many variables to be able to say this is where that collectible is going to be at in the future with that. William Peartree, thank you so much for your chats here. And for, I just saw Mark on stocks. Can you open packs now? I will start to open packs once I get through these few chat comments here and kind of get off of VeVe. Talking about VeVe here. William Peartree says, I meant that in the sense that features are not fully implemented yet. Yes, too early. Absolutely, I agree with that. Features are not fully implemented yet. So I asked, like, what do you mean by too early? Depends on your interpretation of too early. So features not fully implemented yet. Absolutely, we're way too early for that. We're, like, when I hear people talking about the metaverse, I saw an article that Facebook's metaverse took, I think, like $1 billion or so dollars loss. I don't know if it was like this quarter or year to date, but it was a lot. So when I hear people talking about the metaverse, like, we're years away from that. And then when we get to a point, and it also depends on your interpretation of metaverse too. Like, there's different video games that have created their own sort of metaverse. So what is that interpretation that you have on metaverse? And how does that play out with VeVe? So there's so much that has to do with your interpretation on these certain things. But what does VeVe's metaverse look like? Well, when they do release it, I think a lot of people will be disappointed on what they're interpreting as a metaverse to them. Whereas if you look at it long term and you see the baby steps that they make with that metaverse, I think we'll get closer and closer to, in what I hear a lot of people talk about, is that Ready Player One type metaverse where everything is super interactive and what's playing around you kind of plays out as a new reality. Like that, I can't even start to think about how long a ways away that metaverse actually is. So, and William Peartree says, digital collectibles not as mainstream as it is going to be in the future. Absolutely. Metaverse plays are happening, but a long way to go. An absolutely long way to go. I got into VeVe. I got serious about VeVe. So I want to backtrack here back to VeVe at Comic-Con for a second here, because I did see sentiment around VeVe at Comic-Con. Perhaps they didn't do so well because we didn't see an uptick in prices, blah, 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 blah. But when I think about when I got serious into VeVe, it took me like a good month and a half to get serious about VeVe. It took me a good month at least for me to actually make my first marketplace purchase. I got in, I think it's like November 11th. I got in and I went for my first drop, which is the Iron Man drop. And I got it. And then I went for drops like continuously after that. But it wasn't until at least a month later that I actually made my first market purchases. And that I can remember specifically, that was Deadpool and Groot. And I think Groot dropped first and then Deadpool dropped. And I was really wanting Deadpool. So then I bought Deadpool in the aftermarket. And then I bought Groot in the aftermarket. So don't count on the wave that VeVe has created by being at Comic-Con really kicking in until maybe a month or so down the line, where people really start to get into it. Especially those new users that get a drop, which is easy to get drops now. That wave will be felt later. Also, in marketing, it takes, and from what I've heard in the past, 7 touch points to actually get a customer. And that increases year after year as people's attention spans get shorter and shorter. So I think like 7 has turned into like 14. So Comic-Con was really about getting into people's brains, that VeVe exists. And then it's about continuing that. So especially at something like Comic-Con, where there's just so many things going on around people, and so many different booths that they've visited, at least they've got VeVe in their mind. Even though they might have been overwhelmed and VeVe was just something that they learned about at the booth and they thought it was interesting, now the next time that VeVe comes to mind to them, like for example, they see an advertisement, or they stumble across a YouTube video, or a drop comes up that they hear about, all of a sudden that's another touch point for VeVe, and that gets them a little bit more interested in VeVe. So these things definitely take time in order to get a customer that's willing to put money into the platform. And having things like KYC and payout in place is an important step to be able to secure those customers and to know that, you know what, their money is safe in this sort of thing, being that they can withdraw if need be. So I saw Comic-Con more as a stepping stone rather than seeing it as people start to really come into VeVe and put money into VeVe, and this is the thing that's going to cause VeVe to pump. And that was just my opinion at Comic-Con. I don't know where that came into play, William Peartree, on your comment, but thank you so much for leaving that in the chat. Metaverse plays are happening, but a long way to go. And how much can Meta or Facebook continuously invest into something like this, and seeing those losses, that interests me a lot. William Peartree also says payout took them a while. Web app in beta, MCP not implemented, lack of interoperability, no utility in their drops announced, etc. Absolutely, I completely agree with all of those. William Peartree, not that I doubt this is going to happen, but not to the pace in the NFT market expects. And momentum in NFTs, and yes, momentum is absolutely important. And they had momentum after that Golden Moments drop. We see that momentum go, but in my opinion, it had to do a lot more with the market in general as opposed to VeVe. And you know what, the market that we've seen with Russia invading Ukraine and everything, the growth that we've experienced in the past 2 years, there has to be a correction. It was just way too much, too soon. In my opinion, there had to be a correction. We're experiencing that correction, and we're going to experience that correction for some time, which took the momentum away from NFTs. They're definitely going to come back, in my opinion. So that's where we'll see VeVe get more momentum in terms of more money coming on. Right now, we need to be in that user generation growth. Not so much worried about the monetary growth, in my opinion. Yes, Mark on stocks. I'll be opening packs very shortly here. There is a book I'm reading. I recommend it, The Metaverse and How It Will Revolutionize Everything by Matthew Ball. I love that you put that in the chat. Thank you so much. I'm looking it up right now. I don't read books. I can't read so well. My mind just goes everywhere. I read a sentence, I read 2 sentences, and then I have to go back and read that first sentence to kind of remember where that's at. But I do audiobooks. That's my best way to kind of learn with how scattered my brain is. So I'm looking it up right now if that there's an audiobook, and I will be definitely looking into that. So William Peartree, thank you so much for recommending that. I only read books that are recommended. I do not actually try to go out and try to find these books. And I found it. Perfect. The Metaverse. And it's 13 hours. Perfect. I love it. And I'll also have to do some reading on who Matthew Ball is, because I do try to understand more about the author before I read a book. So I appreciate that recommendation there. Pasternak 88, are you a Bruins fan? Are you a Pasternak fan? I don't know if we're going to get along too well. I am a Vancouver Canucks fan. Unfortunately, So that is great to see you in the comments. I'm sure we'll get along just fine. We can put our differences aside. Bruins versus the Canucks Stanley Cup Finals was brutal to me, and I still feel that pain to this day. Pasternak 88. So I think Fett is a GRAIL. Okay? There is a huge hardcore fan base, like my brother-in-law. When there is such a strong fan club for a character, the low edition number will be more than enough. Yes, I do think that it could be a GRAIL in the future. Just I struggle with calling it a GRAIL right now, especially leading up to the drop with how many people were calling it a GRAIL already. If VeVe increases editions in the future based on demand in the market for every drop, yes, everything right now that's an FA is going to be worth a lot of money. Like GRAILs will be thrown around left, right, and center. So calling it a GRAIL right now is difficult for me. But yes, Boba Fett has a huge fan base. And actually, on my Boba Fett price prediction, somebody left a comment which is really interesting, which was, did Boba Fett's popularity decrease because of the Disney Plus show? And that's among like Star Wars fans, like hardcore Star Wars fans. So I think the thing that was so popular about Boba Fett was that he was mysterious, in my opinion. This is just me talking right now, and you can disagree with this, agree with this all you want, but in my opinion, Boba Fett had this mysteriousness to him that made him very popular, as well as his costume design and everything like that. But Attack of the Clones comes out, and we see what Boba Fett looks like, or will look like when he grows up, as well as what he looks like as a child. That takes away a bit of the mysteriousness from him. But he doesn't speak too much. He doesn't get a lot of lines, especially in the original trilogy. So the mysteriousness remains somewhat. We get a little bit of the mysteriousness uncovered. We know what he looks like, or what he's going to look like, being that he's a clone of Jango Fett. And I'm just going to pour myself something because my throat's hurting now. And Disney Plus takes the mysteriousness of that character completely away in what it's built. So did that have an effect on people becoming less Boba Fett fans? Perhaps not the major Boba Fett fans, but the ones that like Boba Fett. In my opinion, as a Star Wars fan, I did not like the Boba Fett series. I thought it was disappointing that that's the direction that they took the character. So does that weaken the fan base for Boba Fett? Obviously, probably not the hardcore Boba Fett fans, but the fans that like Boba Fett and the fans that really enjoy Boba Fett, perhaps that dwindles them down a bit. That might be a part of that fan club. And that's kind of what that comment in my video kind of spurred there. I'm just going to take a quick drink. So, Pasternak 88, that's just my opinion on what we could be seeing with Boba Fett in the future when it comes to his popularity. People will pay top dollar for it. People will pay top dollar for all of these collectibles that we are getting that are scarce if the editions rise in the future to meet future demand. So I see some people complain about edition sizes like being too high with some characters. That's going to be arbitrary in the future when the demand for these characters way outweighs the supply of them. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the edition sizes of characters being dropped right now, because they're still very, very low, considering, like Pasternak 88 said, the fan club for Boba Fett, or considering the popularity of these characters and the popularity of these characters that will grow over time. Mark on stock says I should have sold my Steamboat Willie 1100. Now it's 80. Yeah, that's a rough one. And that's another interesting thing. So at the beginning of the stream, we are talking about FA Buzz Lightyear being the real version of Buzz Lightyear as opposed to the Toy Story version. And then what happens if Toy Story version gets released in the future? Does that get an FA stamp? I don't think so. But Steamboat Willie didn't get the FA stamp, and yet it's a very popular thing because the audience, the market, sets the popularity of it. So I still think that when we get Toy Story version of Buzz Lightyear in the future, that it'll still be a very popular character, even though it doesn't get an FA stamp. William Peartree, Matthew Ball is Canadian too. Awesome. Previous head of strategy at Amazon Studios. Interesting. Good to know. I love to get that background information of these different people, and especially if they've written a book. Smart Buy says if Darth Vader is 1900, Fett should be at least 500. And I think he kind of floated around that 300 to 500 range. Right now in the 300 low 300s, I think. Yeah, that's tough to say, to be honest. Is that based on Boba Fett being a quarter popular than Darth Vader? The edition sizes are the same. They both have FA stamps, so it definitely comes down to the popularity, the demand in the market for that character. It also depends on the demographics that are on VeVe right now. I did see quite a few people write comments on my price prediction video for Boba Fett, saying that when they were younger and Star Wars just came out, Boba Fett was the most popular character above everyone else. But is that the demographic that's currently on VeVe? Because that's going to have an effect on the market price for that. Right? Like, if the people that saw Star Wars when it first came out aren't on VeVe, then that's not going to increase the price of Boba Fett right now in the market that we see. It all depends on those demographics, on who is on VeVe. What is the audience on VeVe right now? So maybe we'll see an influx of users that see Boba Fett as the most popular character based on their childhood experience in the future, which will cause Boba Fett to catch what Darth Vader's sitting at currently. If we don't have any more questions or comments, again, leave it in the chat. I love if people disagree with me. I take no offense to it. So leave it in the comment section, leave it in the chat. I'd love to hear about it. But I will be kind of closing the stream probably in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. And as I promised Mark on stocks, I will be opening at least one pack here for my Green Lantern Corps HRO digital exclusive drop here. As I take one more drink. And I need all the good luck I can get for this. So if I get a legendary, I'll definitely complete the set. And I'll definitely buy more packs and open more packs. If I don't get a legendary, I probably won't be completing the set. And I'll probably take this pack by pack. We'll see. But I'd love to know what you think I should do with this as well, because I'm going to put comments away for now. I hope you can see this. Let's see here. If I put it like this, I should be able to see that. And then I can open it up on mine. So you can see I've got 5 green, or the Lantern Corp packs here. Let's just see what they're going for in the market right now. So let's go back. 9,578 packs remain. That's like 2/3 of the packs. In 5 days, these are going to be burned. And that's going to be interesting. Let's go and see. What the legendaries at least are going for. My computer is struggling right now. Everything's going for $1 when it comes to commons. See, these cards look so much better. I'm really happy with I'd be more than happy to try and collect this set. The Pride drop I was disappointed in. So commons are going for in the dollar range. Uncommons going for in the dollar range. Up to $3. Superiors going for 6 to 9. Epics going from 30 to 38. That's actually pretty good for epics when I think back to the Pride drop. And then even the legendaries are doing really good. And these look amazing. $700 for those. They're doing really, really good. So I would have no problem trying to complete this set. Based on how these look. I'm very impressed. But with that, if you have any things that you want to add in the chat, in the comments, I will take that into account right now. If not, I'm going to go ahead and open at least one of these packs and see what I get here. I wonder if the sound will actually play on the stream. That would be really nice. And give me some luck. Give me some the whatever luck that you've got to give me. I'm going to need that here. Let's do it. My computer is struggling, so that froze a little bit there. But we've got a 180, which I don't think is bad for a superior. Brother Worth. Add. And then we got 2 commons here, which is not the greatest. Red Lantern Corps and Black Lantern Corps. I definitely think I need to open another. Should I open another? Oh, that's a good question. I think I need to open at least one more to see. Oh, no. Black Lantern Corps again. Bad mint. Orange Lantern Corps, another common. Okay, mint. And then we've got an Atrocitus 383, not a bad mint. Alright, one more. And I definitely need to get that legendary in this one. Hopefully you can see this. Oh, another bad. Indigo Tribe. Not a bad mint. Orange Lantern Corps. I think I already got that. And then another superior. 295, which isn't bad. Hal Jordan constructs fighter jets. Oh, do I open more? Do I buy more? What should I do? This is the problem with starting to open these. Is that I want to keep opening more. Especially since I got 2 more. But I do want to see what happens with those burns when they come into factor. I think I'm going to sit on the rest of them from here. I got 2 more. Oh, I gotta open one more. Big money, big money. Oh, I got an epic. Carol Ferris, not a good mint. Green Lantern, there we go. Sinestro number 163. So that's not too bad. I wonder what that would get me. And an uncommon 830. So not the greatest. Let's see what that. Green Lantern 100 something. Epic. Was it worth $200 for those packs? I can 100% guarantee it wasn't. But let's see what this one would have got me. Let's go with sales. So about 40 bucks. I was around that 162. Probably not. Like an 83 went for 45. But 321 just hours ago. So yeah, maybe around that $40 range. But this is where the burns come into factor. I think those mints are going to go for a lot more as people try to climb that leaderboard. So what was it that I got there? I'm 33% completed after 4 packs. It's always interesting. It doesn't show up as not owned or owned, even though you've opened it and you've gotten it. 163. So yeah, I'm in that $40 range. So I might, with everything, I got a lot of comments. I got one superior. I might have hit like $70. Depending on what my lower mints might get me. So $70 out of 200. Not the best. I do have one more pack. I will be opening more packs. And my thing just crashed. So I think that's a good place to say, you know what? That's probably it. But thank you for joining me for this. I appreciate you. Any other things that you want to say in the comments, leave it in the comments. Chat, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody that actually showed up and chatted with me here. I really do appreciate that. I appreciate your time. I'm going to do these every Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video. I want to see how many likes we've got before I close out here. How many likes did I get? Because I know I got a good amount of people watching throughout the stream, coming in and out. But likes really go a long way. It helps me with this channel. So if you could like it, I would appreciate you to like this video. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. That also really helps me with this. We've got 8 likes so far, so thank you so much for liking the video. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, and we'll catch you next time during this week when I've got more videos planned.